Okay, in this tutorial, we're going to take a look at creating CrossLink tables or cross-reference tables. That's two terms for the same purpose. And what a CrossLink or cross-reference table is a way to join two tables together in a many-to-many relationship in both directions. And for example, here's our Northwind database. We have a customers table with our list of customers, and we have a shippers table with our list of shipping companies that we can use. There's 5 shipping companies listed. Well, oftentimes in a real business environment, your customers might say that I only want you to use these 1, 2, 3, how many ever shipping companies to ship things to me because I have a discount arrangement with them, or they're a affiliated company and so I want to give them my business, or they do a really good job of being on time, better than other companies. So I want you to have a list in your system of only the shipping companies that are available to use to ship orders to me. So we wouldn't want to do that by adding fields to the customer table, because remember, first rule of normalization is if I have repeated columns in my row in my table, that's not a good thing, because one company might specify 1 shipper, another company might want to specify 10 shippers. So we wouldn't know how many columns we had to add here to the customer table. So instead, that's where we want to set up a CrossLink table. So in order to set up a CrossLink table, we have to know what the key fields are of the tables that are involved. So if we look at the customers table, let's go look at the structure, and we see that the customer ID field is a varchar 5. So we're going to want to set up the customer ID in our CrossLink table to be a varchar 5, just like it is here. Then let's look at the shippers table and look at the structure. We see that the shipper ID is a int 10 and it's unsigned. So we want to use an unsigned int 10 for the shipper ID in our CrossLink or cross-reference table. Alright, so let's go ahead and set this up. I'm going to go to the Northwind level, and we see we have a place down here to create a new table. So I'm going to call my table CL, and it's going to be a CrossLink between customers and shippers. It only needs 2 fields because we're just linking together the 2 ID fields. Alright, so my first field is going to come from customers, and that field was called customer ID. It was a varchar. It was 5. We don't want to check the null box, because if this is a CrossLink table, it can't be null. We want to make sure it has a value in it. We don't need to auto increment. It's not a key field in another table. Alright, so that everything should be okay for that. Now our other field will be the shipper ID from the shipper column. That was an integer. The length was 10. And it had the attribute of being unsigned. So we want to make sure we do the value the same way. Okay, so those are the two columns we needed to create. We can go ahead and hit go. Whoops, go was for adding fields. Let's hit save. There we go. So now we see we have our table with our two fields, customer ID, varchar 5, shipper ID 10. Let's go back and double check. Customers, structure, customer ID was varchar 5, shipper ID was int 10 unsigned, and double check. Customer ID, varchar 5, shipper ID, int 10. Okay, so now we have that, but we know we need to index these fields now, because that's the whole purpose of a cross-reference table or a CrossLink table, is to link these things together. So we need to go through and create some indexes. So first we're going to create an index on one column, and our index name will be IDX on customer ID. This cannot be, it's just going to be a regular index because we're going to get multiple customer IDs in this table. And it's going to be on customer ID. So we can save that. So we see now we have an index. It's not a unique index. It's on the field customer ID. Then we're going to create another index on one column. We're going to name this one IDX, and this will be on shipper ID. This also cannot be unique, needs to be a regular index. We're going to put it on the shipper ID, and we're going to save that. So now we have an index on the shipper ID on the shipper ID field. So now these two individual indexes gives us the ability to look up one particular customer in the CrossLink table quickly and one particular shipper in the CrossLink table quickly. And when we do joins, it allows the joins to happen very quickly. Now the last thing we need, every table should have a primary index. And because this is a CrossLink table, the combination of these two fields, customer ID and shipper ID, that combination should be unique. So we're going to create an index on two columns. And this one, it's going to be the primary index. So we're going to name it primary. And then we're going to come here and pick primary as the index type. And customer ID will be one field, shipper ID will be the other field. And we'll save that. So now we see we have our primary index on the combination of these two fields, but each field is indexed separately for quick lookup capabilities. All right, so now that field is created, we need to go ahead and create some of our cross links. So we're going to go to our Insert tab, and we're just going to create this manually. So we can go through, and for our values, we have a couple customers we're going to work with. Customer ALFAA uses shipper 1, and then we're going to say that ALFAA also uses shipper 5. And we're going to go. So that saves those two guys. You can see the sequel that was created. Let's go back to Insert. And let's do another customer, BOTTM. And I just picked some sample customers here. So BOTTM is going to use shipper 1. BOTTM also uses shipper 3. And we're going to insert rows. So we got those rows in there. Let's come back to our insert page and let's do one more for BOTTM. And let's have him also use shipper 4. Go. So if we do a quick browse, we can see, okay, alpha uses 1, alpha uses 5, BOTTM uses 1, 3, and 4. And then let's do one more company. Let's do, from the end of our list, Wolza. We'll do 1. And Wolza will do 2. Let's save those. And one more. Wolza will do 3. And go. So one more time, go to Browse. And now we can see our CrossLink between the tables. Okay, so now let's just look at some general ways that we can use this CrossLink table. So I'm going to go to the SQL tab so that we can write some generic SQL. And we're going to pick, we want the customer name from the customer table. We want the company name from the shipper table. And actually, let's do the IDs as well. Now, since customer ID appears in both the customers table and the CrossLink table, we have to put the prefix at the beginning of our column name to let SQL know which one we want to pull from. So we get customers, customer ID, the customer name, and then we want shippers dot shipper ID from that table, and then we get the company name from that table. And then we want to do our from. Now this time we're going to have 3 tables involved. We're going to have customers involved, we're going to have shippers involved, and we're going to have the CrossLink between customers and shippers involved. And then now in our where statement, we need 3 conditions. We need where customers dot customer ID is equal to CrossLink customers shippers, and then we need our CrossLink customers shippers dot shipping ID to be equal to the shippers dot shipping ID. So that way it says, all right, let me pull from the customer table and link the customer ID in the customer table to the left out dot customer ID from the CrossLink table, and then we want the CrossLink table shipping ID to go to shippers.shipping_ID. And actually, I see over here that's shipper ID, not shipping. So let's fix that. Shipper ID, shipper ID. All right, let's hit go. All right, unknown column, customer name in field list. We see that in the customer table, apparently it's also called company name. So we're going to have to do some aliases here. All right, so we need customers instead of customer name. This is going to be company name. And because the shipper name is also called company name, we'll give this an alias as, and we'll rename it to be customer name. And then in the shipper side, we've got customer name. And let's do that as, let's call this one shipper name. Go. All right, now we've got company name in field list is ambiguous. Oh, that's what I said before, because it's the same name in different tables, we have to provide the prefix. So once we discovered that, then now this is customers.company name. And this one has to be shippers.company name. And there we go. So now we can see, just like we set up in our data, that Alpha uses shipper ID 1, which is Speedy Express. Alpha uses shipper ID 5, which is DHL. BOTTM, Bottom Dollar Markets, uses 1, 3, and 4, Speedy, Federal, and Freightway. And Wolza uses 1, 2, and 3, Speedy, United, and Federal. So that's our joining. And then if we wanted to know which shippers were allowed for a particular company, we can go back up and edit our SQL statement, and we can add one more condition. So we could say, and let's limit this to where customers.customer ID is equal to, and let's do Wolza. And go. So now we can see this time it pulled up just the ones that match Wolza and show the 3 shippers that are available. And we're going to use this technique and this information to add another section to our customer detail page to show the available shipping companies.